Greetings and welcome to the World Numismatic News as we now take a look at Washington quarter varieties for the 1934 quarter dollar. Kicking things off with a Mintmark variety from the 1934 D quarter, where an older Mintmark style was either inadvertently punched in or, equally as likely, an older leftover reverse die was still on hand and was just used during the 1934 production run because it was still in stock. Remember that no quarters were made in 1933, so this is the same Mintmark style that was used in 1932. So it's very likely that it was just left over from the 1932 run. Comparing the older style Mintmark, or the smaller Mintmark of 1932 as it is also called, side by side with a regular D Mintmark from 1934, you can see the difference. In addition to the two Mintmarks being styled slightly differently, it is noticeably smaller than the regular D Mintmark. In 2020, a coin that used the small D Mintmark was sold at auction, slabbed by PCGS with a grade of MS66 for the sum of $1,458. Then it is time to look at the three major design varieties that were all used in 1934. These are usually referred to as the light, medium, and heavy motto 1934 quarters, and 1934 was the only year in which all three of these were used to strike circulating coins. Even though there are more differences, the name does refer to the "In God We Trust" section of the obverse design, and looking at all three of these side by side, it is easy to understand why they are called light, medium, and heavy motto designs. The easiest way to distinguish the three from each other is to focus on the letter W of we. On the light motto coin, apart from being almost barely discernible on most coins, the center point of the W is lower than the two outer peaks, and crucially, it is very pointed, with a very sharp peak in the middle. On the medium motto coin, which also happens to be the most common of these three, the center point of the W is still lower than the other 2 points, but this time it is more squared off, almost, or the peak isn't, well, as sharp in this case, in addition to the motto itself being very clearly enhanced. The heavy motto is, as the name suggests, much heavier, with the letters being beefed up a little bit compared to the other two. Also, the center point of the W is again very sharp and pointy, and this is the crucial point, it is taller, or which is to say that it stands above the outer 2 peaks of the W, and in fact most of the other letters of the motto as well. Of these three, the light motto is definitely the rare coin, but all three can be slabbed individually. In 2022, a light motto 1934 quarter was sold at auction, slabbed by PCGS as MS67+, for the sum of $6,300. Then, in 2021, a medium motto Washington quarter was sold at auction, slabbed by PCGS with a grade of MS68 for the sum of $7,800, and then the heavy motto coin is represented by an example of this type that was sold at auction in 2022, slabbed by PCGS as MS67+. It sold for $9,400. Then we have a beautiful doubled obverse variety that is definitely the star of this year when it comes to varieties. Here, the clockwise spread that took place between the hubbings can be detected on most all elements. The date is clearly doubled towards the east, as you would expect in such a case, with the 3 being definitely the easiest place to detect the doubling. But upon closer examination, you'll see that in fact all of the numbers are doubled rather dramatically. And speaking of dramatic doubling, the widespread is expressed in the clearest possible fashion on the letters of "In God We Trust," where here there is no mistaking it. The entire motto is doubled boldly towards the northwest. And referring back to our discussion about the different obverse types from before, you can clearly see here that this is an example of the medium motto obverse. During 2023, a PCGS graded example of this variety at a grade of MS66 was sold at auction for the sum of $7,800. Subscribe to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.